Hi, welcome to the Balanced Body podcast series. I'm Taylor Alpers from the Pilates Center in Boulder, Colorado. We're going to be doing a series of podcasts on breathing and how important breathing is for the Pilates method. Joseph Pilates himself would say very clearly, above all, learn how to breathe correctly. And he's very, very clear about that in Return to Life if you get a chance to read that book. And he will say exactly how to do it. And what he says is you must exhale every last atom of air from your lungs until they're as empty as a vacuum. So most of his exercises are designed specifically around that concept, and that's what we're going to be looking at through all of these different podcasts we're going to do on breathing. We're going to do some with springs and how the spring affects the breath, and some without springs. But first we're going to talk a little bit about just the actual action of the breath mechanism. And Paula here is going to help me demonstrate a little bit. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at the ability in your client to really be able to expand your rib cage as much as possible on your inhale. And then a deep exhale down below to squeeze every last atom of air from your lungs until they're as empty as a vacuum. So the assumption is in Pilates that because of our lifestyle, our breath mechanism is relatively compressed and tight and weak. He would say that specifically from sitting in a chair as much as we do, and that's even 60 years ago. So now it's considerably worse. So we're looking always in every exercise to enable the expansion of the inhale via the unbelievable contraction of the exhale. So you deep squeeze all your air. So let's try that. And what you can do is you can do this standing, or you can do it sitting in a chair, or sitting on the edge of a Cadillac or a reformer, or kneeling like Paula is doing. Just sit upright very tall. Don't be in a tuck at all. If you have a tuck, show us a tuck for a second. If you have a tuck, it will compress this area. So we need to sit up nice and tall so your spine is relatively neutral. And then just feel your chest expand as much as you can, your rib cage growing, and try to find a new place, maybe these lower back ribs, which sometimes get tight. And then come way down below and exhale, squeeze, and keep squeezing until you feel every last atom of air gone, and then you simply release and allow the expansion to happen again. And if we look at the skeleton over here, we'll notice that there's this area in the body where there's no bones other than the spine, and that area is designed specifically to enable that incredible contraction that we need that pushes the air out. So we're looking to stretch and open this whole area of the body, front, back, side, shoulder girdle, and then really empower this area around the lumbar spine that pulls the structure together, supports the organs, and supports the spine. Okay, so let's do one more time. So we take a huge inhale, big, stretching the rib cage, stretching the lungs, stretching the muscles, allowing the ribs to expand, and then coming down underneath and exhaling deeply. And one more thought for your exhale is to think of yourself like the rings of a tree. So you have your skin, and then we come in and we have a layer of muscles, another layer of muscles, and then this deepest third layer, like the third ring of your tree. We want to start our exhale from that deep layer first. So we take our huge inhale, and then from the deepest layer first, exhale, squeeze and narrow like you were drawing yourself into a black hole, like deep into a black hole in your body. Right? Now, try it once in a little bit of a tuck and see what difference that makes. So you take an inhale, see what that feels like, and then you try to find your deep exhale, and you'll see that probably it's going to be a little shallower, and you won't be able to go all the way to the ends of it. Right? So then we come back up, again, just into a nice upright position, and try it one more time where you take the exhale starting with the outermost layer rather than the innermost layer, and see what difference that makes. So we'll take a huge inhale, expand, stretch all through, opening. Then we're going to start as if we were squeezing our skin and our external obliques and feel what that feels like. And you'll probably feel that that doesn't take you quite as deeply either. So one last time, really big. Inhale, expanding, expanding, expanding. And then from the deepest, most inner layer, squeeze, 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 squeeze. Excellent. Okay, so then we're going to show the 100 and show how you would actually enter the exercise in its ultimate form, which is more commonly modified for a lot of people. So I'm going to have Paula lie down, stretch out flat on her back. So ultimately you would start in this elongated position. You would just take a huge inhale. Every exercise in Pilates initiates with the exhale to get you into your position. You exhale, so we'll take an inhale again, and then a deep exhale all the way in, and that connection would lift you. And then you would start your pumps. In for 5, and out. So again, our same idea. We're expanding, opening, filling, stretching out the upper body, deep squeezing, narrowing, starting with that third layer in. One more time. Big inhale. And then you would use that exhale again to lower your legs and head simultaneously. So that would be the ultimate goal, is that the inhale sets you up for a powerful exhale. That powerful exhale really, really enables you to stabilize and strengthen and organize around your center so you can pick everything up, and then triggers it all so that while you're doing the exercises, you're focused around this area right here. So I wanted to show a couple modifications since we often have to modify. So the main thing that we want to realize when we modify is that we don't lose this. This is the most important thing, that this area, the area where there's no bones, remains expandable and contractible. That has to be key. So for instance, if Paula demonstrates a typical way that people tend to get into this exercise a little, which is to bend the knees, straighten the legs up, lower the legs from here and lift the head, very often what that will do is compress this area, and then she's going to feel tighter. She's going to feel as if her neck is a little bit stressed. The shoulder girdle isn't at rest, so it can't rise and fall anymore either, right? So if we can pull her down and out of this a little bit more so she has access to this, right? We might need to bend the knees or something, because coming from the top, often that will over-engage the exhale, the hip flexors as well. So in an ideal world, go ahead and bend and put your feet down. In an ideal world, if they can't do the full out exercise, so straighten your legs, they can't come from this position into it, it could be a better idea to consider supporting them rather than always modifying it, so that this area will remain open and we can always count on it to do the very best exhale possible. So we're going to take this concept now, this idea, this way of looking at the breath, into additional podcasts down the road that are going to look at other exercises in the system that utilize springs and some that don't, and talk a little bit more about how that exhale is so key in the Pilates method. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you at the next podcast.